Hello everyone, I am the Comics Kid 2099 and I am doing something very different that I have never done before. I am going to be doing commentary tracks on the animated series Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you've been keeping up with my channel pretty much since the beginning, I have been doing written reviews of animated shows like Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Superman the Animated Series, Green Lantern the Animated Series, and what I have discovered in doing that is that I come away from those shows enjoying them a little bit less than I did before. Batman is a show that I really loved, and then getting into scripted reviews, there were episodes that I enjoyed a little bit less because I was forcing myself to think about them a little bit more than I normally would if I was just watching it for fun. And so I don't want to come away from Avatar: The Last Airbender enjoying it less than what I do. There are some things about the series that don't work. I don't think it's a flawless series, but I really, really enjoy this series. And so I want to watch this series, and I haven't watched through it all the way in a very long time, but I want to watch it with you guys and maybe have a different experience than what I would if I was doing pre-scripted reviews. So this is going to be a commentary. What you will want to do is, if you want to watch along, put your DVD or Blu-ray or whatever in your TV or your computer and have the timestamp all the way at 00000, and in a minute I'm gonna say play, and then I will be watching along with you guys. And so I think that's enough preamble. I haven't watched this series all the way through in quite a while. I don't remember when the last time it was that I watched all of this, so it's gonna be fun, I hope. So anyway, here in a few seconds I'm going to say play. Get ready for it. 1, 2, 3, play. Okay, so we get the the intro here. I'm going to try to be exciting here, guys. I've never done commentaries before, but I maybe need to do some closed captions here on my screen. That way I can kind of see what's going on while I have the thing muted, and that way you can still hear me and you're not hearing my TV. So anyway, I'm a little surprised that we are getting the introduction here in the first episode, because we're going to be getting a lot of this in exposition later on. By the way, spoilers for pretty much the whole series. This series ended over 10 years ago, so oh, it's a longer introduction. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking it's odd that they're doing the introduction, but this is more exposition than what we normally get. Yeah. I am kind of surprised that we're getting all of this spoon-fed to us right now, because spoilers, Aang, he missed all of this. He missed the last 100 years, and so he's going to have to be told all of this over the course of the next few episodes. So, oh, and Aang's not there. Usually Aang would be right there on that little cliff that we just saw. So this is a little different. That's kind of interesting. But yeah. I'm going to try to be as positive as I can while not sugarcoating things. There is a character who just finished giving us the theme song introduction thing that I don't care for very much. She is probably my least favorite character in the series, so I'm going to try not to bag on Katara too much over the course of the series. When the series first begins, she's not as bad as I remember her being later on. And I guess if I want to be fair, she is kind of forced into being the air quotes mature one of the bunch. You've got a bunch of immature guys like Sokka and Aang, two guys like Sokka and Aang, who kind of just want to goof off and have fun. So Katara kind of has to be the team mom, if you will. So she's got a thankless role to play, I guess, in this group, but I still don't like Katara. Not necessarily because of this. This is your kind of goofball antics that you expect before you get character development. And early on, Sokka was kind of, I guess, supposed to be the unlikable one. He's a jerk to Katara here, and I mean, can you blame him? He just got splashed with water for no reason. And then he's kind of the Scully of the group. He doesn't really believe in this stuff, which I don't know if it's that he doesn't believe. He just doesn't think it's as important as all the other stuff he values, because he clearly knows that she can waterbend. So it's not like he flat out refuses to believe that bending is a thing, but he puts value over things like being a warrior, protecting the village, stuff like that. And in the same way that Katara is kind of forced to be the adult of the group throughout the series, Sokka has kind of been forced into that role over the course of their lives since their mom was killed. So a lot of really heavy stuff here. I will praise this series for managing to balance stuff like our mom died a couple of years ago. She was just straight up murdered as a war crime. And also goofy stuff like, haha, Sokka got splashed with water, wah wah. So I am surprised it's able to pull all of that off pretty flawlessly. It doesn't feel like, oh wow, we should let that breathe a little bit. We should be sad a little bit more because their mom is dead. We don't really get that. I think they do a really good job of kind of pulling it off. Oh boy, here we go. She's about to change their lives forever. Also, if you hear any slurping, I am waterbending some lemonade that I'm drinking right now. Yep. Ooh, that's good. Here we go. Yeah, some of these faces, they're a little bit more cartoony than I remember them being also. I don't know if that's something that I'm just misremembering or if that's something that they kind of tone back a little bit over the course of the series. I also like, and you get to see a lot of this in special features on the DVDs, but I like that each culture in this world has a very specific design and look. These guys obviously live in the South Pole, so they're going to dress like they live in the South Pole. But even when they go further north and they're not living in the cold climate, their attire, their way of living is still very different than, say, someone like Toph, who they meet, who grew up much further north and away from where they grew up. So I really like that. This is some really cool stuff. I don't know. I've listened to all of the commentaries on this series and watched all the special features. I guess I should also say, here in the last few years, they released the entire series on DVD, like just one gigantic, that looks cool, just one gigantic DVD box set. I do not have that. I actually forked out the money and got each book. They call them, like, season 1 is book 1. So I got each book separately before the entire series was all released. So I'm a little bitter about that because I ended up paying like $20 per book. It was kind of hard to find them inexpensive. Now you can get the whole series for like $20. So it's still a little bit miffed about that. But anyway, in the DVD special features on what I have, they may have different special features on the new one, I don't know. But in the special features, they talk a little bit about how they tried really hard. Introducing the second best character right here. And the best character, are we about to see him? Yep, here we go. Uncle Iroh, the best character ever. And if you've never seen the series, which I don't know why you would be listening to my commentaries if you haven't, but it might take a little while for you to be like, oh, okay, I see why he likes Uncle Iroh. But for a little while, he's kind of, I don't want to say comic relief, but he's definitely in relation to Zuko being the, these tiles are also really important, like way down the line. Wow, they're seeding stuff early. In comparison to Zuko, he's a little bit goofy, a little bit more comical, but I love both of these characters so much. I made a joke once that if you were to do the Dungeons & Dragons alignment chart thing with like chaotic good, chaotic neutral, chaotic evil, that sort of thing, that Zuko, depending on different points in the series, he could fill just about every slot on that chart. So anyway, I really like that they put a lot of effort into the world building here. Like the airbenders, their clothes look different than the waterbenders. That's something that very easily could have gotten lazy, but they never let it get to that point. They have different points in this series where characters wear different types of clothes because they're in a different part of the world and they act in different ways. And here is our protagonist's first lines. It seems like it's going to be something serious, but it's obviously not. So anyway, this is a lot to introduce in a series. There's a lot of lore here that they have already built up, and they kind of take their time with it. There's stuff about being the Avatar state, for example, that comes in way later than what I thought it was. And I should point out, I was introduced to this series, it was sometime in season 1, but it was not early on. Like, I started watching, like, kind of halfway through this season maybe, and then I went back and later rewatched everything from the beginning, and that was where I was kind of surprised, like, oh, they introduced the Avatar state like 5 or 6 episodes into the series. Like, they don't hand you all of the lore to the series at the very beginning. You kind of get it fed to you as you need it, and that's good because there's so much that it would make a 22-minute episode unseemly if you were to try and shove all of that into one episode. So they're kind of taking their time with it, and I think that works. This is a little disgusting. I could probably do without Sokka being covered in bison mucus, but hey, they have to get their kids interested, and kids like fart jokes and snot jokes and stuff like that, whereas your older teenage audiences are probably more interested in the shipping and stuff like that, and then character relationships, that sort of thing. So at this point, I don't really have a whole lot to say. I'm looking forward to more Zuko and Iroh. Here we go. Are we gonna find out that he's an airbender? Yep, there we go. He's different. He's not like us. He's got powers that no one else on the planet has. I once saw someone online, I don't remember who it was, they were saying that a superhero, they classify a superhero as being someone who can do something no one else can do. For example, Batman doesn't technically have superpowers, but he's the world's greatest detective, and he has all of these physical abilities. He's trained his body in ways that no other human has, so he is a superhero. Aang, I totally classify him as a superhero. At this point in this world's history, he's the only airbender. He has a duty to protect the world. That kind of thing is something superheroes do. They fight evil and they try to protect the innocent. That's Aang's job. He might not be engaging in that duty at this point, but I totally consider him a superhero. So if you find it to be a little odd that I am talking about this series as opposed to another superhero series, this is, in my opinion, totally a superhero series. It's dressed a little differently. They don't have superhero costumes. It's just, a fantasy series just as much as a superhero series. So yeah, I'm going to take another drink here, guys. Bear with me. Once again, we see Sokka being a little bit of a skeptic. He's never seen a giant sky bison, so I guess he doesn't believe that this thing can actually fly. I don't know why he wouldn't believe that, because even being isolated from the rest of the world like he has been, surely he knows there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. Like, I can't think of any of the really odd animals at this point. Like, we know that bears, just normal bears, are a real thing. When we get into season 2, the king of Ba Sing Se has a pet bear that's not like a lion bear or something like that. Like, you've got combination animals, and then you've also got regular animals. So I don't know why he doesn't believe that this bison can fly. I guess because we need a little bit of drama here early on, so Sokka kind of has to be the butthead. He kind of has to argue with Aang at every point, argue with Katara at every point. Later on, he does become much more of a likable character. Right now, I don't like Sokka too much. Katara, like I said, is kind of my least favorite throughout the whole series, but at this point, she is your character viewpoint, I guess. You identify with her because she yearns to learn more about her abilities. She's kind of like Harry Potter, I guess. He thinks he's special, but he's living under a cupboard, doesn't think that he's ever going to amount to anything. That's kind of Katara. She is alone in this village. She's one of the only ones, I think. She is the only one in the village who can waterbend. I think we find that out later on in the series. So she kind of has, feels like there's more to life than what she has. You feel sorry for her, but as the series goes on, I don't know if they intentionally did it or if this was kind of accidental, but these two characters kind of switch roles where Sokka becomes a little bit more of the likable, pragmatic one, and Katara kind of just becomes a little bit of a jerk. But like I said, I'm not going to focus on that. We got some important stuff here because even though the series is called Avatar: The Last Airbender, and we see that Aang is the last airbender, so we can conclude that he is the Avatar, we're still kind of finding out a lot about him as we go. We're not told immediately that he's the Avatar, so like I said, spoilers, but we will find out, like, we see he's got tattoos, which she already saw. Anyway, And that doesn't necessarily mean anything because we see later on that all of the air nomads had tattoos, so it doesn't mean that he is the Avatar, but she's acting like that was kind of significant. But yeah, anyway, I'm just kind of going along for the ride here with you guys. I hope that this isn't too boring for you watching me or listening to me watch this. But yeah, here we go. 100 years. Now I don't know if Aang realizes that it's been 100. Yeah, here we go. Oh man, poor guy. He knew it had been a little while, but I'm sure he didn't know just how long. Oh man, I feel bad for him, but also he's taking it well. So here we go. See, that's just like a normal like tiger or something that was there. They act like later on, whenever the Earth King has the pet bear, they're acting like it's weird that it's just a normal bear. But now that I think of it, there's not nearly as many like bizarre fantasy animals in the series. Like there's a flying bison, but it is a bison. Like it has 6 legs, which is weird, but it's not like a, bison turtle or something like that. Like you have, spoilers for the end of the series, you have the lion turtle, and then you've got like Momo, which is just a lemur. But they're not like lemur cat or something like that. Later on, they kind of act like that's more common than what it is. But right now, we're seeing just a normal tiger. And then like in the Legend of Korra, which is a sequel to this series, you'll have like a polar bear that's just a polar bear. I probably won't be doing commentaries on The Legend of Korra. I don't have the whole series on DVD. I wasn't as much of a fan of it as I was this series. I remember getting really excited whenever it was about to premiere. That was probably one of the last shows that I watched episode by episode on TV. And then I kind of got out of it around season 2. So I was never as much into The Legend of Korra as I was Avatar, but I may mention stuff from it every now and then in these commentaries. It's kind of sad what's going on here with the Water Nation. Like, just a whole bunch of kids. Like, all the adults are off. Oh, say, yeah. And Zuko, he's kind of like Sokka. He's introduced kind of as a butthead. You don't like him, but then very early on you realize that there's more to him than what we see. Of course, we don't know what the origin is of his scar yet, but right now he's just bad guy. We need a bad guy to be an enemy of Aang and Katara and Sokka, and he's here to capture Aang and bring him into the kingdom of bad guys. So we just have a bad guy right now, and then someone else who's kind of his Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's still, you can tell there's some depth here, but it's still not yet fully explored. It will be, I know very early on we get an episode that kind of explains why Zuko is as intense as he is, but here we go. See, I like this. They clearly put a lot of time into trying to develop these characters and what makes them tick. Zuko isn't just evil. He has a reason for doing what he's doing. I like that quite a bit. And here, like I said, you may be confused why I think Iroh is so awesome, because he's being intense with Zuko, and then he goes to eating food like, I'm a wacky old man. But pretty soon you'll get to see why Iroh is pretty awesome too. He's giving a speech to toddlers. That is some good lemonade, guys. Yeah, I feel bad for Sokka. Like, he's left to guard the village, but like his dad clearly, you don't get the idea that his dad actually values Sokka that much as a warrior / man, whatever that means. But if something was to happen to the village, Sokka pretty much is on his own here. Like, his dad leaves him to protect everyone else, but what's Sokka supposed to do if Fire Nation soldiers come back? And we do see later on that Fire Nation soldiers came here once before, so it's not like out of the ordinary for Fire Nation soldiers to come to this part of the world. So if Sokka's job is to control the village, his dad left him very ill-equipped to do so. Not something I really thought about before, but here we go. See, these are just normal penguins. These are not, and it has like multiple flipper things, but it's still just a penguin. So these animals are not as science fiction fantasy-ish as I thought they were before. But here we go. Aang kind of just wasting time. I like that even the characters that you like I don't really dislike any of the characters except for Katara, but even the characters you like, I like that they all have character flaws. They're not perfect characters. they each have good qualities and bad qualities. And like Aang, we get to see him. He's kind of irresponsible. He doesn't want all these responsibilities, and of course, it's not his fault. We find out much later on that the Avatar is a duty that usually you spend years trying to learn how to be the Avatar, and you don't do it when the world is at war with itself. So Aang was kind of thrust between a rock and a hard place here, but I really like that he, even though he is kind of the character everyone will latch onto, I think a lot of people really like Aang, he still has his bad qualities that he has to overcome, and I like that quite a bit with this series. It doesn't take a character that you're supposed to like and say that they are perfect, and then characters that you don't like, they're just filled with bad qualities. I like that even your bad guys have good qualities. They can be charming, or they can have ambition. You know, I like that sort of thing. She is now the master, and he is now the learner, to quote a movie that I really like. But it's still fun and games, yay! Haha, giggling, as my closed captions say. I don't know on the new DVD release, but mine doesn't actually have audio subtitles. It just has closed captions, which I guess is basically the same thing. You got like 3 feet of air that time, to quote another movie that I like. I think you guys just need to tell me in the comments below what movies I'm referencing. I'm not going to tell you from now on. Now you can see why I've never done commentaries before. I'm like struggling to fill 23 minutes and 28 seconds here, and I don't have anyone to help me do that. So it's going to be difficult. Here, any minute now, Sokka's going to come and say, hey, we're being invaded. You guys are playing games. Why are you doing that? Oh, dang. That got morbid real quick. Yeah, it's a bad memory for Katara in particular. Aang. You're not allowed. He's a bad influence, Katara. What? I thought she was your master, Aang. I didn't think it was the other way around. Although these two are both like 12, so they, I guess, need to master each other, to mentor each other and help each other out, because one is not more bendy than the other. That sounded weird. When I say bendy, I mean bending elements, not like body bending. Although, Katara does later learn how to bend blood. Spoilers. So she does bend bodies when she does that. This looks really cool. This reminds me of like Ice Station Zebra and The Thing, that sort of thing. Like I'm expecting a blob monster to come out of the vent right now. Oh! I don't know what those were. Oh, groovy. Now, I know you guys aren't allowed in here, but, like, Sokka totally would have come in here and gotten some good weapons, I would think. Or his dad. Maybe his dad could have gotten some good weapons. Maybe they just don't want a reminder to the toddlers that the Fire Nation exists. Since it's basically just, like, 90-year-old people and then, like, 3-year-old people and, like, Sokka and Katara in between. Oh, yeah. You gotta keep reminding him. Now he says it's impossible, but his grandmother just said, like, or her grandmother just said that everyone's extinct. I thought he kind of picked up on that already. Is he in denial, or is he actually for real? Yeah, he's for real finding out. Oh, yeah. That's kind of like Kirk trying to sit down when he finds out his son died. He just sat down on the ground right there. That one's a given, if you're wanting to keep up with all my movie references. Yeah. Get out, you're not supposed to be in here. The Thing from John Carpenter's movie is going to attack you. That one's also a given. Yeah, how long have they been in here? Oh, wow, 100 years? No, wait, no, that's not 100 years. Is it? Is this from... I missed it. I've got the closed captions on. Is this boat from the 100 Years' War from 100 years ago? Or is this... Not the 100 Years' War, but... Is this from 100 years ago, or is this the boat that came to kill Katara's... I don't think it's from a couple years ago. This has got to be an old boat. That's surprising that that's still... Now, I thought... Okay. I thought Zuko only found out about this because Aang sent up a beam of energy, but yeah, here we go. He sees them because they were goofing off, breaking the rules. I must reclaim my honor. You may hear me doing a lot of impersonations over the course of the series whenever I'm trying to kill some time. Oh, to be continued. I'm on the edge of my seat now. And here we go. Well, I'm not going to stick through the credits here, guys. So I hope you guys enjoy me doing this series. I hope that I can actually fill out 22 minutes over the course of 60-something episodes. Andrea Romano, I forgot. She, if you're looking for another superhero connection, she cast most of the DC Animated Universe voices, and here she is working on this series. So pretty cool. I will see you guys, or you'll hear me rather, in a week whenever I do a commentary on another episode. So in the meantime, keep it real. I'll see you later.